Rajiv next to Blinne Ni Ghra KC, leading silk at Matrix, specializing domestically in protest cases and international human rights law, which very much includes the defense of lawyers. Blinne.
Thanks, Pete, and good evening all. It's wonderful to see so many people here this evening, including so many giants of the legal world, though humbling to follow the legend that is Gareth Peirce. The exhortation made to the jury by William Penn in the Bushell case, establishing the right of juries to acquit according to their conscience, as cited by Rajiv in the closing speech for which he is being prosecuted. You are Englishmen. Mind your privilege. Give not away your right. That exhortation, although almost 600 years old, could not be more apt or topical at the present time, for Englishmen and for us other mortals. Rajiv's utterly unprecedented and extraordinary prosecution cannot be divorced from its immediate and wider context of the onslaught on fundamental rights that we're witnessing currently. First, the context of the extreme and authoritarian crackdown on speech which is happening in this country. One of the particular hallmarks of this crackdown is the exposure of principled individuals, of people of conscience, to the risk of extreme sanction and penalty for alleged speech-relating offending, including for holding placards denouncing what continues to be a live-streamed genocide in Gaza, for wearing badges, for reciting poems, and now for an impassioned jury speech given by a leading, brilliant criminal silk. Second, the prosecution also cannot be divorced from the broader context of the assault on jury trials, which has already been mentioned, the fundamental constitutional right of the public to be judged by their peers. A principle so fundamental as to be described by Lord Devlin as the lamp that shows that freedom lives, as repeatedly quoted in criminal trials the length and breadth of the country. The flame of that lamp is at extreme risk. The purported rationale given for the proposed reforms that imperil it, that seek to curtail the right to trial by jury, which is that they are necessary to reduce the serious court backlog, has no merit and is contradicted on the evidence as repeatedly demonstrated. Another rationale for doing away with jury trials was raised in an utterly bone-chilling speech given a few days ago by one of the most powerful figures in the Trump administration, Stephen Miller. As so often in modern-day America, saying the quiet part out loud. Having asserted that appeals to civil liberties are but a tactic that, quote, must fall on deaf ears when the leftist protests that we are violating his rights. He called out the principle of jury equity, jury nullification in America, as a particular evil. And he urged states to stay the course and be completely unflinching in the pursuit of justice against these enemies of civilization. Those enemies of civilization apparently including those who would acquit in accordance with their conscience in the face of authoritarian laws and unjust prosecutions. As the saying goes, if you are not afraid right now, you are not paying attention. So, having begun with the words of an Englishman, I'll end with those of an Irishman. They are words that echo Penn's exhortation 600 years ago and Bushell's responding promise to hold firm to fundamental rights. And the words are from the Republic of Conscience, composed by Seamus Heaney, to commemorate 25 years of Amnesty International and its work, including for prisoners of conscience. And it describes returning from an imagined Republic of Conscience, where radical democracy and human rights are practiced and respected. And it reminds us of the importance of freedom of speech and for speaking up for what is right. And Heaney says, I came back from that frugal republic with my two arms the one length, the customs woman having insisted my allowance was myself. The old man rose and gazed into my face, and said that was official recognition that I was now a dual citizen. He therefore desired me, when I got home, to consider myself a representative and to speak on their behalf in my own tongue. Their embassies, he said, were everywhere, but operated independently, and no ambassador would ever be relieved. Juries are the ambassadors of conscience, which is why they represent such a fundamental and critical safeguard against authoritarianism. We too, as human rights lawyers, are ambassadors of those rights. It is for us to try to ensure that the embassies of fundamental freedoms and conscience continue to operate in these troubling times, to continue to advocate for fairness, for what is right, without fear or favor. It is so reassuring and uplifting to hear so many and see so many of you here united in that aim, in solidarity and support of one of our finest, Rajiv Menon KC.